I want to be welcoming to the people. Okay, so Ryan has a lot of questions.
Okay, so one, I do have questions that Dan will be asking, and then follow that, I'll be asking a few questions. So Daniel has 4 questions. The first one, in detail, how will you work with Mac Media to ensure their council and publication are moving smoothly? So this is for the board, and then we can start how we feel comfortable.
Okay, I'll start. So to ensure the cohesiveness between the McLaughlin College Council and Mac Media, I think first we need to have a little introductory meeting. Because like in the past, I've been on council both years, and I rarely know who Mac Media is. So I think to start off, it'd be a good idea to have them come to one of our meetings, or maybe not even something so serious as a meeting, maybe just have a little event with them, have them come with us, because one of our duties actually is to have a summer and fall term like retreat. So to invite them to that so we can get to know them, so that we can have that closer bond to understand what it is that they need us to help them with, so that we can make sure that their year runs smoothly. So I think just to know who they are, get to know them, and actually talk to them would be a great start.
Yeah, Shanice answered that really well actually. One thing that we did when I was on council is we got them to come to our meetings, or at least one representative. It was usually the editor-in-chief. And I say that our communications, our VP communications, can really work closely with Mac Media, especially when it comes to promotion. And we can all promote as a council. So one thing as the VP operations can ensure that that's being done, acting as the liaison. Go down there, go into the office. It's not a scary place if you guys haven't been. Talk with them, talk with their council, because they have a whole other council too. Make sure you're known, make sure they know that you're comfortable, and just really push their stuff. We got each other's backs, that's it.
Just to branch off of that, using the implementation that Ryan put this year with the one-on-ones, using those with Mac Media as well, not just the MCC or Sports and Rec Council, because we do have to support all aspects of them. They are part of our mandate. Branching off of that, again, starting slow with them maybe, because again, a lot of council members aren't familiar with the Mac Media and how their inner workings work. So again, starting off maybe more on a social basis, getting to know one another. Again, communication is a huge part of working with any mandate in McLaughlin. And then just going into more so learning the inner workings of Mac Media, and not just knowing their face or their magazine or their new covers, like knowing what they need in order to carry out their magazines and whatnot.
Daniel's next question is, how will you work with the O-chairs and president during the summer to be up to date on Frosh? So you can go.
Okay. So for Frosh, the best thing, in my opinion, one thing that can always be improved on is communication. Sometimes when there is a lack of information coming from one end, another end can have a lot of discrepancy, and that's not what we need during Frosh Week. Everything in Frosh Week has to go in a very orderly fashion. Being a very organized person, my goal would probably be to have weekly meetings, even 2 if needed, just to understand where our part of Yoda is where they're standing, what they need from council. I think one thing I would really like to push on to, not push forcefully, but let them know that their council that they have is to an advantage. It's not to slow them down. And we really want to help make the Frosh Week as successful as the president and the O-chairs.
Yeah, also one other thing, like Romina said, communication, availability, right, and initiative. So you want to make sure that you are accessible, you are taking your initiative to go and talk and find out information from the other parties involved with Frosh Week. Give yourself time, go up to the master's office. They are our resource. They're up there. Talk to them, ask them what you can do, what you have, what they can do for you, and just work from there. Be available in the summer. Talk to your council. Talk to your team. Talk to Yoda, SC and LD. Get ideas, learn, and make sure you're using your tools, the communication, initiative, availability.
As the previous 2 people have already said, communication, make sure you're available make sure you're here just checking. I think a major thing is just checking in on them and asking them if there's anything that they need, because sometimes they just need to be asked. Like they might need it, but they may be so busy that they're not asking, right? So just to make sure that you're available, you're there, you're asking them, and maybe do like a little de-stressing. I love to play foosball, so maybe if they have 5 minutes of the day, we're here, come down here, play a little foosball, and just to relax, because I know it can get really stressful. So just to make sure they have that time to breathe, relax, calm down, whoever they may be, and I think that'd be cool.
Daniel's third question is, how will you work and promote the upkeep of the lounge and college?
I'll start. So, I'm currently VP Commuters right now, so I feel like just work closely with whoever the next incoming VP Commuters will be, because they're going to need your help, just to make sure that you're there for them, to help make sure the lounge is being upheld, to make sure that our council is also coming down here to help, because I think that's like, we're super lacking right now. So I feel like as long as the council comes down here to help and just to make sure that it stays clean, if you come in here just see garbage, pick it up, I feel like that's a really easy thing that we can do, and just to be there as a support for the current VP Commuters.
One thing that really, it helped a bit, and there were some downfalls, is I created a lounge coordination team, and that there was a lounge coordinator and there was a deputy coordinator per se, right? And they were the ones that were always on site. I was lucky enough to have them live on campus. And it was the first year doing it, and oh my god. It was the first year doing it, and I had some bumps in the road. However, one of the things that I learned from doing that was that you really, really, really need to listen to what your team has to say and what your community has to say. So suggestions, right? I would recommend putting some sort of an open suggestion box in here. If not a box, some way that the community could give their ideas so that they A, want to be in here, B, respect being in here, and C, tell other people. They communicate, they spread the word that, hey, the Mac Lounge is a place that I want to kick it. And we don't want to keep it like just to, per se, first years, because we love our first years. Mac loves first years, or stick around for the most part. But we're kind of lacking the love, again, with our upper years. So we want to make sure that it's an inclusive space. And then as the VP of Operations, what I vow to do is to make sure that that's running smoothly. And ears always open for all those avenues of people that want that.
Basically, following up with what they said, keeping the space in all McLaughlin, not just the lounge or not just the office, but like everywhere here as an inclusive and welcoming environment. Again, a lot of it does have to come back from community members, because they're the ones who are here sometimes more than the council members. And like, if we have their input, we'll know where we're lacking, where we might be focusing too much on, where we can find a happy medium in between, and like to continue off of that, like even not just with the lounge or not just with the office, like maybe checking in with like club offices, because they're also part of the McLaughlin like the whole McLaughlin College. See what they might need from our end, and like make McLaughlin as a whole somewhere that people want to hang out, and somewhere that they would want to spend their university like undergrad.
And Daniel's final question.
Actually, I have another question I could ask, because I thought of it.
Okay, well, Daniel's question still is that, as you know, for the Constitution, meaning that finance and operations now have more hands-on role with finances.
Mm-hmm.
So, how will you aid with the not just all finances, but especially with the audit, aid with the audit to be completed?
So coming in with as like a lot of council members have before, we have come in with like no experience. So working alongside the VP Finance in her 13th month will really benefit me, the president, and whoever else is VP Finance for next year. Working alongside the VP Finance will help us understand what needs to be maintained, what needs to be worked on in the audit. Also just kind of keeping more so up to date with it. So the president and the VP Finance do have a huge kind of grab on the audit, but it's up to like the VP Ops to stay updated with it. So I think being updated with the audit at all times would help, and learning about it too, not just like knowing what's going on about it, but learning how to work with it.
And Daniel, do you have another question? But it's still
You said you had another question.
Oh yeah. Okay.
No, they
Oh wait.
Oh, I forgot. It's been a long day.
Alright. And should I answer? Okay, so working with the budget and the audit is, like Ramina said, like what Sajid was saying. Personally, I don't have a lot of experience with auditing, like many of us don't. What I plan on doing is learning from the VP Finance, learning alongside the president of this year, and just basically observing the spending, observing the trends, because we're not just focusing on the audit right now that's coming up, we're focusing on the audit for next year and the year after that and the year after that. We gotta look ahead, because even if we're graduating this year, we do not want to leave MAC with a poor budget, right? That wouldn't be a legacy to leave. So what we want to do is make sure we learn as much as we can, we act accordingly to the smart ways of spending, and we keep track. We're just frugal. We practice frugality, right? And we just keep an open mind when it comes to learning these financial methods.
Okay, so my idea for working with the VP Finance and the President, I would just refer back to the people who are working this year and maybe ask them a couple questions, message them. YouTube's a great thing because I don't know a lot about auditing, so I can watch a quick video, try to get myself to learn a better understanding, and work closely with the President and the VP Finance, and just to ask them where they need help. Just take the time to actually sit down when they're doing those things, to actually be present, be there, to learn how to do it, how it works. And I feel like that would just be there to be that support.
Okay, so my next question, and last down here. So as you know, in the absence of the president,
Okay.
the ops takes over as the interim president. So in the risk of that, God forbid something were to happen, did I say that? No, I didn't mean it like that. Everyone not get the As possible interim president, how will you take control of the council and be accessible during the summer if needed, as well as the later terms, and be approachable by SCNLD and other faculty groups?
Okay, I was there. So basically, I think I would just try to keep that same cohesive relationship with the council that the president would try to have. I think that just learning because I'm not aware of all the different faculties and departments. You have to work with like SCLD and I think Yoda, and there's other things, but I'm open to learn. I'm down to listen. I'm good at working with other people, and I feel like it would just be easier for me to kind of just fit into it. I'm easy to talk to. I pick up things really fast, so I feel like that'd be an easy transition for me. So, yeah.
I'd say that it starts right now. We just really make those connections now. Learn what those connections are that we need to be making, and just go out and really speak to SCNLD, speak to Yoda, and really look at the president's relations, how he deals with, or he or she deals with these different deals with these. Sorry, I lost myself. No, hold on. No, it's not you. Just really focus on how the president deals with these relations. Relations is the word, right? But like I said, start it now. Start these connections now, because later on it's gonna be too late and it's gonna be awkward. So you want to build these connections.
I think it starts with learning the Constitution and knowing that as the VP Ops, every duty that is under the president also falls onto you as well. So the second you learn that, you can move forward and start making the connections. Make yourself known to SCNLD, make yourself known to LAPS. Let them know that if the president is not someone who is accessible at the moment, that you are the backhand, so like you can easily be available through phone, email, anything like that. Another thing would probably be to attend CPA meetings. CPA meetings are like the president roundtable type of thing. So maybe if an ops from not just our college, but each college goes in, learns about like what's going on between the presidents and between all colleges, we'll have more of an idea of like where to pick up off of, like where to pick up where maybe the president has left off. So again, like Justice says, it starts now. It starts with when you get your position and learning the Constitution inside out and making the connections with the people, and yeah.
Hola. So as current group operation, I have a few questions based on my experiences. So yeah, again, I have a few questions based on my experiences. Something I have yet to get from the speeches right now, why in specific VP operations? I want you to get it detailed as to why this position and why you personally set out and how you stick out differently from everyone else. Not just saying, well, generic. I want in detail why each one is perfect for this position and why you want this position. That's my first question.
I started.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, I live for organization. It's literally like a thing of mine. For me, what ops is supposed to do is to work on the inner workings of the council, work alongside each department, work alongside everything that's going on in McLaughlin, not just maybe the council, but other parts of the mandate, including SNR and Mac Media. So the reason I would like to run for this position is because this position entails everything that I personally like to do. So to put my personal interest into something a little more professional, a little more in terms of like making more connections with people, it's something I would want to do as VP Ops. So kind of also in addition to that, just kind of continuing my undergrad as someone who has been involved with McLaughlin. I would like to do that through the position of Ops. I like being someone that everyone can kind of come to when they're having a problem, which is I know something Ops has to deal with as well. And like I would just want to finish off my year on a strong note as the Ops, as someone who anyone can come up to, as someone who is working alongside all the departments that are a part of McLaughlin and the other mandates. And yeah.
So personally for me, when I came in my first year, I was received so well by this college. It was the greatest, most mesmerizing experience for me, like ever, coming from high school into a university. And I still remember my frosh week, and it was the greatest thing. And I remember the council on there, all the Ryans, all the Dans, all the Danielles, and right, people that we don't know anymore. But the point is that it was a welcoming community, and it still has that aura. And personally for me, I like to feel comfortable. I know that we're all students, we're all in this place called York, and we are stressed out, and we just want to do well and get out of here and start our lives, start our careers, right? And for me, I think that it is so important for me to give back to this community, and I think that this community is such a strong community, but I've seen it I've seen that it needs strengthening. I've seen that some people have said that it's faltering, and I do not like that. I do not like that. It makes me sad. It is a place that I want to come in and be like, hey, what's up? How's everyone doing? Let's just be like silly together. Let's just have fun. We don't want to come from our lectures and come here and feel uncomfortable. And we don't want to come from our lectures and feel like we can't go to Mac for some reason because we're avoiding somebody or we're avoiding cliques or whatever. I don't want to hear that anymore. So, and that's not what I've heard when I came in. Although it may have existed, it wasn't a reality for me. So I don't want to make it a reality for any of you or any of the incoming students coming. I want them to come into a nice learning community where we can network, where we can have fun, where we can turn up, where we can just experience ourselves and be comfortable. That is why I personally want to run for this position, because I like to think of myself as a comfortable person. Sometimes too damn comfortable, to be honest with you. Right? So, can I get an amen? No? Thank you. So that is personally why I am running for this.
Okay, so why I want to run for VP operations. There are so many different positions I could have ran for, and I thought about other positions, but I feel like as VP Ops, you're kind of a part of every position that there is running for right now. Because you're there to kind of to be that person to ask to help the other group, to help the other departments, ask them how they're doing, and you kind of have that freedom to be in every department. And overall, I really just love McLaughlin. Like, I came here my first year, I was very welcomed, I had an amazing time, I learned about council, I came to it. As my first year, I kind of observed, and I really loved it, so I went on, I ran again. I'm on it right now, and I love it, and I want to continue to give other students that are coming in that same feeling and vibe that I got. Because me, even just being a frost shooter this year, seeing all the first years that came in and how I was able to impact their lives, that wouldn't have happened if the leaders and the council that was there my first year didn't impact my life. So I just want to continue to give back to the students so that they can continue to give back to the students to come for future generations, and everyone can come to school and just have that place where you can come and relax. Like, even today, a kid came in here and he's like, honestly, I've been feeling down. And I came to Mac and I was literally just happy, and that like warmed my heart. So I just want this place to continue to be a place where people can come and just, no matter what's going on in your life, when you come here, you can just forget about that for a little bit and know that there's people here that will talk to you, even just spend time with you, play game foosball, just chill, listen to music, vibe. And if you need help, like, people here are great at answering questions. Like, in my first year, like, I would have been lost with one people like Sharzad and Sajith who came and they actually know things and you can ask them questions. So the reason I want to be VP Ops is to ensure that the council is as welcoming and warm and just available and open to answer the questions that all the first years have, because they come in and they're scared and they don't really know what's going on. So I feel like as long as I can help because I think the council will already have that great energy, I just want to help to continue to ensure that they have that same energy and that we can be a family, and I feel like it'll be great.
Okay, my next question. I love the enthusiasm right now, how you all want to like go out and make different. But in reality, the operation focuses a lot on the behind the scenes aspect. One of it, as you should know, one of the biggest things is being able to give constructive criticism. And sometimes people don't take it in the best way. So how are you able to be, in a sense, that devil's advocate as well as being able to give constructive criticism, while still being able to hold that respectful, or that kind of sense of respect for other people? Because some people don't take it. How are you able to moderate that?
So I'll start. So basically, I'm a really friendly person. I love to talk, I love to have fun. But at the end of the day, I feel like everyone on council has to realize that, yeah, we can be friends, but we also have to be professional. There's going to be that line where if I'm doing something wrong, I want people to be able to come up to me and be like, Shanice, like, you need to buckle down, like, this is what needs to be done. I feel like everyone has to have that same mindset. You have to be able to sit there and take it. If you've made a mistake, you have to understand that you've done something wrong, right? So I feel like as long as you're there just to make sure that you can find that line between having fun, yeah, we have a lot of fun at MAC, socials, whatever, but we also have to remember that we're here for business and that we have a goal as a council. We want to achieve that thing to make MAC great. It's our 50th year. Everyone's coming in. So we need to also be dedicated, spend our time. You have to be able to be focused. You have to be here. Because if you're not going to be dedicated, you can't just leave when things get hard. You have to be able to stick around, right? So I feel like as long as you have that drive and determination, things are going to go great. So that's what I'll do.
Honestly, there are times in my past years where I have been told to do things differently, where I have been told to buckle down. But you know what? The difference between me being told that by someone respectfully and disrespectfully is that at first I didn't really understand in my first year. I felt like I just messed up the whole entire council and McLaughlin College was going to explode or something like that. But you know what? It really, really taught me something. It taught me that we're all human. We're still human in this position. We're going to make mistakes. But you need to learn, and we need to learn in this position how to, like you said, give constructive criticism. And when someone doesn't take it well, don't get defensive as well, because maybe they don't understand. You gotta ask them questions. You gotta ask them, why do they feel like this, right? You gotta really get personal with them and allow them to tell you what the issue is. Because a lot of the time, when we're in a position where we have a lot of responsibility, we tend to overlook these things. We don't really get down and really say, hey, what's the problem today? What's going on? Can you talk to me? We tend to just see someone's in a bad mood and they're like, oh, I'm not gonna talk to them, or if they talk to me like this in this tone, I'm just gonna cut them off. That's it. We really gotta get to know our council on that level, each individual member. And we have to be able to know ourselves and open up ourselves enough as leaders to be able to take that constructive criticism from our colleagues in order to better ourselves. Because if we're not going anywhere as individuals, and we're not going to go anywhere as a team. And that is it. And then we're not going to go anywhere as a community, and that is very unfortunate. So I think that it's just very important that we are open, critical with a purpose for the betterment of everybody.
For me, when it comes to constructive criticism, I am someone, when it comes to professional matters, I know how to be vocal, I know how to communicate, and this is something that, using it as a personal skill, I can carry out into the position of VP Ops. Learning that, like, having those one-on-ones that Ryan does every so often with the different departments is really beneficial. And when we learn about their problems and what's going on with them, we can learn how to deal with it. So, like, knowing that, like, I think one of the biggest things when it comes to constructive criticism amongst the council or any professional institution is knowing the difference between personal and professional, and knowing the fine line of when it's becoming personal and when it's too professional. And, like, as well as, like, giving that constructive criticism, it's learning to work with different personalities. And when you learn to work with different personalities, you know how to approach every person. And so I think when you have more of a, whether it's a professional or personal relationship with someone, you know how to interact with them, you know how to give constructive criticism in a way that it won't offend them. So I think being someone who is a very vocal and someone who likes to communicate, I think I would be able to give that constructive criticism in a way that is unique to every individual on council.
Last quick question, I'm sorry. Yet again, going off what you just said, giving constructive criticism, it can lead to, some people have their personal opinions, some people may not like it, or stuff like that. How are you able to take that and still achieve the goals that you want? Which is kind of like a two-part question. Which is, what are those goals you want to achieve as ops? For me, it was self-care, progress reports, and cleanliness in the office. What is your unique goals that separate each one of you, and why whoever these people should vote for you?
So what are my goals as VP Ops?
One, are you able to deal with not people taking your criticism lightly, because they might end up hating you for it?
Yeah.
And also, what are those specific goals that you want to bring to the position? Whether, like, for example, mine was self-care, progress reports, and cleanliness of the lounge.
Yeah.
What are yours?
So for me, when it comes to dealing with someone who may not be taking constructive criticism properly, it's reminding the council that everyone is here for a common goal, which is to better the McLaughlin College and the community. So with keeping that in mind, I think people will learn that maybe their personal opinions should be put aside for the time being, and if it becomes more of a personal issue rather than a professional issue, deal with it outside of the college. It's not something that should be dealt with in here, when in an area where everyone needs to work a lot, like, with each other and not against each other. So I think that's how I would deal with the constructive criticism aspect. As for my goals as the VP Ops, one is cleanliness. Like I said, I am someone who's very organized. I am someone who likes to keep things clean. So maybe not, like, just keeping McLaughlin, not just the lounge or not just the office, but, like, every aspect of McLaughlin in an orderly fashion. My second goal would be to increase I don't know the word for it, but cohesiveness. Increase cohesiveness amongst the whole council, and again with every mandate of McLaughlin, including SNR and Mac Media. So those would be my goals as VP Ops.
Okay. So for someone dealing with, what was the question again? The first part.
Part one, so basically, once giving constructive criticism, sometimes you have to be the person that people hate, you have to do the right thing. So one, how do you take that personally and move forward to complete your goals, and this is personal. And the second part is, what are those goals that you want to bring to the position? Like I said before, mine was self-care, talk report, and cleanliness. What are yours?
Okay, so one thing that I do aside from the position, I try to encourage, and I keep working on, is that you want to communicate, keep open communication with people, and actually listen. Like I said, we don't do a lot of listening, we do a lot of hearing, right? So in order to understand what a conflict entails or what an issue someone may have, when you're giving this constructive criticism, you have to listen to both yourself and you have to listen to the other person. All right? And from there, you can work on a strategy on how you're going to work on it. And again, like Romina and Shanice said, you're going to leave business separate from personal. Yes, personal, sometimes you do, something happens, you come into council and you're not feeling well, but make sure you don't use that as sort of a downfall for the rest of the team and yourself. If you feel comfortable and you're not feeling well, you're feeling off, you go and you talk to somebody, you talk to the president, you talk to whoever you feel comfortable with, so that we can communicate your issue so that we can tackle it. Or at least we could keep it aside, but you don't feel like it's hidden. So at least you know someone knows, and you listen and you try to work forward from that. That is one thing that I am going to do, is definitely listen to people, not just hear people. And my 3 main goals is, the first one is to increase and maintain our transparency, because we have nothing to hide. Honestly, we should not have anything to hide from in that office, and we don't have anything to hide. We are all a community. We are a council that you put into you give responsibilities for us to serve you, and we serve each other. So we keep each other informed, we keep each other in the know, and we stay accountable for everything that we do. The second thing is that we secure the budget. We make sure that our budget we're spending smartly, we're making action plans for the future so that we have a budget to work off of later on. That's one thing that I'd like to do too, is to contribute to the security of the budget. And the last thing is to bring back and strengthen our community. So the people that no longer want to be around MAC for whatever reason, or don't come around MAC, or don't know MAC exists, I will get rid of that. They will be around here again, and they will want to be around, and they will be telling other people that MAC is the hottest place to be on campus.
Alright, can you repeat the first part of the question? Is it just about
Listen in here, I just
how to deal with conflict with
it's
one
in the
area?
sense that you will be saying, while giving constructive criticism, people sometimes don't take it well, and will have, in a sense, that personal opinion.
Got it.
One, how do you take that and move forward while still keeping, in a sense, that healthy relationship, but at the same time achieving your goals, which is the second part. What are your specific goals towards the position?
Got it. Okay. So with the constructive criticism, again, as I said before, you have that fine line between business and friends. So I feel like you have to sit down, and also what I find is when you're being professional, don't be too professional. You can't take it professional to a level where it's like, okay, you're just using your power. You cannot power trip. I feel like if you do that, people are not going to take it well. So you have to make sure that you're looking at yourself on the same level as everybody else. Even the community members, like the council and community members, we're all on the same level. We're all here to go to school, graduate, and have a good time while we're doing it. So I feel like just make sure that you're talking to people, you're communicating, articulating yourself well. And if you ever feel like you're in a position where, okay, maybe this conversation isn't going well, that's why you have your president who's here to back you up. You can call him in and say, maybe I'm not taking this right. What's your take on it? And sometimes somebody may look at your opinion, but if somebody else is thinking the same thing, then they'll take it better, right? So I feel like you always have, that's why you have your counsel that you can always lean back on. And the second part of the question, I believe, was what are my personal goals. One goal I really want to include, one thing I really want to do is inclusivity, because I'm really close to the first years and I talk to them, and a lot of them don't like to go to the office. They feel like we're unapproachable, and I think that's unacceptable. So I feel like we need to make sure, like what I said before, that we're looking at ourselves as on the same level as community members. We cannot power trip, we cannot think that we're better than them. We have to make sure that that line between professionalism and just being a McLaughlin student is there. Like, it has to be very thin. I feel like we need to make sure that we're making everyone feel inclusive and inviting. We have to make sure that the office is a space that people can come in and just feel comfortable to just come in and say hi. The way we talk to people, the way we approach people, the way we act, the way we carry ourselves, I feel like is very important. So I want to make sure that inclusivity is a great thing, especially when dealing with the first years. Like Hafsa said earlier, we have to make sure that we're not just looking at them as first years froshies. We have to understand that they're scared, they're nervous, they're coming in here. We're like their big sister or brother. We're here to guide them and help them. So I feel like we really need to make sure that we're making the office and the lounge an inclusive space. And the second thing I'd like to do is I'd like to keep on kind of like what Ryan's doing with the one-on-ones. Instead of one-on-ones though, I'd like to do just departmental meetings, like 2 or 3 times a month, just to see how they're going, because I feel like the director and the VP of whatever department, I feel like they would work pretty well together, and if not, then I'd like to be there to kind of be that bridge and to help them to achieve all their goals.
Okay, just one thing, so there's a lot more questions coming in, so we're gonna keep the answers to a minute, okay?
Yeah.
Because like there's a lot of questions. Okay. Alright, Jordan?
Oh.
Okay,
First question up. In your role as VP Ops, how do you see yourself going through Frosh Week?
Okay, I'll go first. I love Frosh Week. Okay, I really loved it. I love being a Froshy. I love being VP commuters this year. I loved working with the first years. I love to interact with them. I love seeing the impact that I have on them. So honestly, I think that the VP of operations is normally like a floater, I believe, if I'm not wrong. But I'd like to work closely with the VP commuters, whoever that may be this year, because I really love that. I love talking to them, just learning, just giving them information. So I feel like that's what I'd like to do.
Same here. I also share the love for Frosh Week. Frosh Week, like I said, I'm not going to pour out again. It was the greatest experience ever. And being on council doing Frosh Week, it's completely other side of a Frosh Week experience. It's not till then when you join council that you realize how much work and dedication goes into the organization of that week. So as the VP of operations, I will definitely do my part in not only contributing my personal part to it, but definitely assisting the other departments and their contribution, the O chairs, and really listening to the guidance from Yoda and SCLD and everything that they give us to talk about. Especially working alongside the president so that we just execute just an awesome Frosh Week.
For Frosh Week, I'll admit, in my first year, I didn't have the greatest experience. So my goal for Frosh Week would be to continue what I've seen other people do for the new incomers, being inclusive, being excited, being happy to be there, making sure everyone is feeling welcome. That's more of the social aspect. As for the academic aspect, I would love to continue working alongside the VP academics and the academics department to make sure that every student who is coming in is is knowing their transition and knowing what it's like going from high school into university. In addition to that, like I said, I live for organization. I love that aspect of a professional job. Mm-hmm. So using those skills to make sure Frosh Week goes smoothly, that's how I see myself going through orientation week. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Second question. Y'all gonna play sports?
Yes or no question?
That's a
Yes or no.
Yes, it is in the constitutional duties now, so I will be playing sports. I played 2 more sports than I did last year, so it's good.
And you put your last year.
None.
At least she's being honest.
I'm being honest, yeah.
Yes, I have chicken legs, so I need to really get, I know. Yeah, thank you. I need to get in there. I will be playing sports.
100%. Love sports. Been playing it since I was born. Continue to play for them. I love sports and rec.
Okay, Destiny?
Alright. So VP operations is a very stressful job and it can inflict on your personal life and your academic life, but what goals do you have in mind so that your level of initiative or like appearance throughout the college, throughout the whole academic year, either stays consistent or like goes up, like not decreases? What plans do you have for that?
Okay, so I'm gonna take summer school. I'm gonna take 2 classes in the summer, so that'll lighten my burden throughout the school year because I love being here. Even right now, super stressed, but I'm still here more than I do my homework. I just love math. So I'm gonna just make sure I prioritize my time, as I said, do my summer classes, do my homework when I'm at home, and when I'm here, I wanna be dedicated to what I'm doing here. Make sure that I'm here and available for the president when he needs me, and for any other department when they need me. So just time management, I feel like, is just the key in this situation.
100% time management. What I did was I tried my best to get ahead of my readings, ahead of my classes, so when I came to Mac, I wasn't really stressing about my homework during office hours. If it was dead, I did a 1-2 homework essay, whatever, 1-2, you know. But overall, wasn't really stressed, and I will continue to do that to ensure that my personal things that are relevant to the running of the college and the benefit of the community are not invading with my Mac time. Call that Mac time.
For me, as for this past year, I actually think I did quite a great job of like maintaining my school life, my council life, and my personal life. So continuing what I'm doing now, using an agenda, something as simple as that. Time management, when I'm here, it's Mac time. When I'm in the library, it's academic time. Separating the two and making sure I'm staying on task with everything. I'm really good at not procrastinating. I've taken pride in that in university. So continuing those good habits that I've had and just continuing it in my 4th year and as the VP Ops.
Okay, so how do you guys plan to change the image of the VP of Ops in terms of the energy towards Mac students? Do you want me to like?
Yeah.
Not next slide. But it's like in terms of like, for example, a lot of people feel like it's a power tripping position, and how are you like, especially not to incoming, because that's like you have that floor already, of course. But I'm talking to community members who are already in it, like okay, they're VP Ops, okay, so you have power, and you're just gonna power trip. How are you gonna change that image? And
That's good.
go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. For me, I think all of what you're asking is just being a friendly and approachable and inclusive person. By having those 3 qualities, it's very easy to have a relationship with council and community members. Listening to what the community members have to say. I love it when a community member comes up to me and tells me what they think is wrong, what they think needs fixing. Taking those into consideration, taking it back to council and telling them that this is a concern and this is how we should deal with it, or like hearing what other people have to say about how we should deal with it. Again, also it's not just like the social aspect and it's not just the community members, but also working with like the club members who are involved academically, learning what they want from us, because they are a part of McLaughlin as academics, but they are community members too. So just listening, that's what it takes.
Yeah, and I'm going to add on to that. Listening is so important, listening rather than hearing. But one other thing that a lot of people, we are striving to do is to stay humble. Stay humble. We're people, remember that we were put here in this position by the community. We didn't get here by ourselves. We didn't just come to school and that's it. We're in this position. So if we remember that we have to stay true to the people that put us here, remember our values, why we're running, and why we are in this community in the first place, I think it will have a lot easier time, just staying true, and instead of power tripping, really regulating yourself and really opening up to what the community has to say, because you're here because the people that put you in this position share similar values. So why would you want to impose on them and on them?
Okay, for me, as I said, that drives right back to one of my main goals, inclusivity. Make sure that you're on the same level as your fellow council members and as the community. And that goes right back to Frosh Week. Get to know the first years. Get to know the leaders who come in, because even when I was a leader, I didn't even know some of the people who came to be leaders. So just talking to the people at McLaughlin is just a great start. It'll make them feel a lot more welcomed when they come in the office if you just have a conversation. Say, hey, how's your day? You know what I mean? So I feel like just that line with the communication, just being welcoming, just continue. And I feel like I do a great job with that right now. So I feel like just keep up the energy that I have and just continue to be leveled and pool person.
And just to clarify, I'm not talking about like specifically the act of power tripping. I was talking about the perception from the community.
To get
Oh.
rid of that.
That perception, not like someone is, VP.
Oh, can I do one quick thing?
Yeah, like the
I was like,
perception.
Are we gonna go back?
I like
Take 30 seconds.
The way this is being asked, it doesn't seem like the house is the last.
Oh,
We got you.
go ahead.
I mean,
It's up to Joanna. No?
yeah.
Go.
Wait, what's going
Like
on?
30 seconds or less.
No, it's half
30 seconds. Okay.
Oh, it's up. Oh.
Oh, okay.
What's half stop?
It's just
Okay, so she's kind of already answered this question, but like I'm gonna ask it again anyways. So basically, how will you guys as VP Ops sort of get rid of like the tradition of like roasting the first years in terms of not of like the incoming first years and like also on council and like how you'll fix that?
Okay, I think it's my turn to start.
Yeah.
I love first years. I think that we just need to talk to them. They're actually cool people. I feel like this year, my year, kind of just, we treat them as individuals. We treat them as people. We don't call them first years, only jokingly, and they know we're joking when we do it. So I feel like my year has done a great job at stopping that. We don't look at them like they're dumb. Like we just talk to them on a real level. I feel like just talking to them like they're people is a great start. Because a lot of people just look at them like, why are you asking this question? And it's just because they literally don't know. So as I was saying, be that kind of big brother, big sister. Just be there to answer their questions when they have it, because they're gonna have questions they don't know. If you're going to a whole new place, you have to realize that like they're scared. You just have to be there to answer their questions, make them feel comfortable, and that's the line that you draw. And another thing, kind of back to Destiny's question, it ties into Hafsa's. Just the way you treat the office, the way you treat the space. Just don't be like, don't go there. Like it's the way you talk to people. You can have these rules and you can be professional. It's just the way you approach it, and just the language you use to the community members, I think, will be a great start.
In our council.
First year reps on council, abolishing that whole your bottle because you're first year rep.
Oh, I'll take 15 seconds to answer that one real quick.
Oh, it's a two-parter.
It's a two-part question.
That's my second part.
Yeah.
So first year's on council. Okay, I feel like just because when they come on, like I was a first year at myself, and when I came, like I just like, you come to your first meeting, you're just like, oh, they kind of already know what they're doing. You don't really know what's going on. So I feel like just making sure that when we have our first year reps that come in, we actually, and even our what are they called, director positions, just talk to them in our first meeting. Let them know like, okay, so this is what's going on. This is how we're gonna move. These are our goals for the year, and letting the first years know like, hey, you can help in this department, and also making sure that we help them with their first year back, because that's their first years are new. This is like a big stress. So I feel like just making sure that we're there, checking on them, asking them how they're doing, and making sure that we're just there to support them, and just even calling them to do little things that we may need help with, even if you don't really need the help. Just make them feel like, oh my God, I gotta need your help, and then they'll help, and they'll just feel more like involved and inclusive. And just the language we use, again, just the language that we use to speak to people is very, very important.
Okay, so even though I'm graduating next year, I still feel like I'm in first year because it was such a great experience, and I want to continue to have that sort of experience as I go through my university career. Because I'm going up in years doesn't mean the experience has to stop, even though I'm getting new experiences. So as a VP Ops, what my strategy is the reason I want to bring back the community, bring back the upper years, is to bring them back for a purpose, to bring them back as leaders. So when the first years do come in, they don't have that attitude where it's like, oh, they're just first year. They feel like, the upper years feel like they have a role, that they're there to be leaders, to be mentors, to bridge that gap for them, right? If you give them some sort of an opportunity to do that, you're more inclined to have a healthier community and healthy relationships between upper years and first years. And that's my job, to be in the middle of that. And the second part? Council?
First years in council.
Okay, first year reps on council. Again, Shanice is very spot on with that. You gotta talk to them. You have to communicate, talk to the first years, ask them if they have any questions, because sometimes they're shy, and I remember being a first year rep, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Sometimes I feel like I didn't have a purpose on council. So the fact that the upper, or the executives would come to talk to me and tell me, hey, do you need help with this? Do you need help with your event? Do you know what you're supposed to be doing? That really helped me. And eventually, like everyone, like riding a bike, you catch on. You catch on to what you're supposed to be doing. You feel like you have a purpose. And we function as a proper team. We won't be viewing our first year reps as inadequate. I don't even know
Suji.
the time.
It's okay.
Can you turn the timer so it's like,
Do you want to see it for yourself?
no, like turn the timer just in our direction so I can see it.
Okay.
Just because I don't want to go over time or anything.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. So for me, I want to use my unfortunately negative experience in my frosh week and use that to treat the first years how I would want to be treated back in that time. I personally think that I haven't communicated much with the first years besides my first year reps, but I do know that talking to them is a good start. Just like talking to them on a personal basis first. With one of our first year reps, Richie, for example, we just talked about music. Like, it's really that simple. With Hafsa, in our retreat, I learned that I'm not the most approachable person because my face is a little, it's a little stick sometimes. So when I learned that, I learned to be a little more approachable with Hafsa. So I guess that kind of goes more hand in hand with both first years and first year reps. Just literally starting a conversation with them. And when I was in my second year, one of my first year, sorry, they got 2 minutes.
Like 5 seconds.
But did they got 2 minutes when I get 2 minutes?
Then it's just this
Yeah,
two-part
it's
question.
two
One
part
question,
question.
Oh, she's doing a second.
So yeah, so like in my second year, for example, I made one of my closest friends, Montez, by helping him through his transition from going from high school to university. So doing little things like that, answering questions that maybe York doesn't answer for them. Again, it's both on a personal level, academic level, and a council level, just starting with a normal conversation of their interests and what they want and listening. And that's it. G.
Okay.
What's your question?
Okay, yeah. Can I go?
Yeah.
So my question's gonna be quite personal. So, with all 3 of you, I think our relationship, assuming that I get president, our relationship, I've known y'all both professionally and as friends outside of council. When it comes to the relationship between president and VP operations, I feel like those 2 positions are gonna spend quite a bit of time together, especially maybe crying over the audit, helping out with Frosh, helping just with the whole synergy of council. How would, just on a personal level, myself and one of y'all, or like just with between the 2 positions, how will we bond our relationship?
So my relationship with you personally has been one of the best relationships I've had with anyone. I think outside of council, one thing we always do is enforce school on each other. I think if we take that habit into council by enforcing responsibilities on each other that we do have, maybe where one is lacking, the other one strengthens it. I think by using that kind of scale analysis, by like saying, this is what needs help and this is what we can like maybe leave alone for a second. Just kind of using that scale balance to know where we're lacking and where we can improve, and using our personal relationship into a positive way in our professional relationship.
So my relationship with you, see, this is getting sentimental now, I like this. We've known each other from first year, in our first year poli-sci class. And we're partners in crime from that. Love that. And then we have our good little parties together where we don't remember anything. And it's just a good time. But Sajid, if we work together, how we're gonna bond, I want you to kick me in the butt, and I'm gonna kick you twice as hard in the butt. And we're gonna get this job done until the end. That's what's gonna happen. And how we're gonna bond, we'll figure out different ways to bond as we go on, but we know we like to just sit down and relax. We will go on retreats together. Like, not the Blue Mountain retreat per se, but maybe sometimes you and I will just go on a little leadership thing that's going on, right? We'll talk, we'll have open communication, and we will give each other ideas so we get this on the road and we keep it going.
Okay, I met Sajid at Frosh. We played Hucklebuckle. If anyone knows me, they know I'm super competitive. And we won, okay? So I feel like our relationship started off on a strong note. I feel like we're amazing friends. I feel like I can talk to him, like I go to him about advice. He's really easy to talk to. He's a very responsible and organized person. And I feel like that drive and that push and pull between, because I like to have fun, but he also likes to have fun. And when it comes to like being serious, we can both be serious. So I feel like he's somebody who's really easy to talk to as well. So I feel like if he needed to talk to me and approach me, I feel like it'd be really easy for me to take his constructive criticism. And I feel like I understand him, so I know how to approach him if I need to give him constructive criticism as well. We both live in the same area, it's pretty easy to talk to. phones were accessible. He's an amazing person, and I feel like it'd just be really easy to work with him.
We love you, Sajid.
Any other questions? Yep.
Okay, so as VP Operations, it is part of your job to be a liaison between the president and the rest of your council. How would you as a liaison work to make the president and council work efficiently together for the upcoming years?
Okay, can you repeat the last
Yeah,
part again? Because
How can you bridge the gap between the president and the council to work efficiently for the upcoming year?
in our constitution, it's not a constitutional duty to be
There's
a
no-
liaison between the president and the council. The president has his own relationship with the council.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess if there was a problem with the council and the president, then you could try to talk to. That's when the constructive criticism would come in if the president wasn't working well with the rest of the council. But I would assume that the president would be able to work with the rest of the council. If not, then I guess that's where you would step in and be that person and say, hey, whoever you may be, I think that maybe we should sit down and just kind of talk about the way you're talking to people. I don't know whatever the situation may be. I feel like that's how you could deal with that.
Although it may not constitutionally be a position or a requirement for us to be a liaison, like Shanice said, there could be an opportunity that arises where there is a conflict between the president and the rest of the council. And in that part, because we're in a leadership position, we are the second with those responsibilities after the president. Then we would definitely, I would make sure that, there's constructive talk, constructive criticism. One-on-one, he's my partner in crime. We'd go talk, see what the issue is, listen, communicate, and then listen to the concerns of the council, and see what we can do to A, create the minimum amount of problems that seeps out into the community, because we don't need that extra, and then tackle our issues so it affects the least amount of people, so we can continue to move forward.
One of the biggest relationships on council is actually between the VP and the speaker. So using the speaker to my advantage with both the Constitution and as with the speaker as like the unbiased character on council would really help in addressing issues between like the president and maybe other departments on council. So I would use the speaker as kind of like a secret weapon, if anything, to deal with issues between the department and the president. So yeah.
Anything else? Alright guys, thank you for coming out today. Thank you to our candidates. And don't forget to vote Monday 8 a.m. to Wednesday at 11:59.
What day and what time?
March 20th to March 22nd from 8 a.m. to 11:59 on March 22nd. Hey, vote, yeah. You vote, that's it.
Tell your friends also buy promo tickets.
Yes.